I found a system when I was looking online that keeps us from home to provide a better income. I found the system in May of last year. In my first 3 weeks with the system, I had made an extra $1,000. It was amazing. I was working part-time. I quit my full-time job soon after so I could stay home with my daughter. I was able to attend all the principal functions in her first year of school. I was able to attend her first day of school, which was great. I've been in the business now for 1 year. My monthly income is over $5,000 a month, so it was great. 4 times what I was ever going to make as a retail manager. I now look forward to the future I have with my daughter. I stay home with her full time. I know that she will be able to have an education, anything that she needs to have, she will have in the future. So it's an amazing system. Glad I got started, glad I found this opportunity, and I look forward to what the future has. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Lester Vilner. I'm presently working as a mud engineer in the Gulf of Mexico on a 14 days on and 14 days off schedule. As a matter of fact, I'm speaking to you from the Gulf of Mexico now. I wanted to find a source of income whereby I could stay home to enjoy the company of my 2-year-old grandson. I found this opportunity on the internet and decided to give it a chance. After starting my business, I made $500 in my first month, $1,000 in my second month, and I'm presently making $1,500 to $2,000 a month. I'm really looking forward to the time where I can stay home, work my business full-time, and watch my grandson grow up.
My name is Rosemary Bowtie. My husband and I were married in May of 1991, and we lived in Washington State. Mike and I have worked together for the last 20 years in the commercial printing and graphic design industry. We never seemed to be able to set aside an adequate amount of money for our retirement, and time was growing really short. Industry changes and downsizing significantly impacted our business. As a result, we found it necessary to transition into a new business, which would provide us with a secure and ongoing retirement income. We investigated the possibilities of an internet-based business, which would allow us to continue working together on a daily basis. That's when we found this online opportunity, and it really became attractive to us. We determined that there were distinct advantages to owning and operating an internet-based business which features a renewable product and which also would allow us to earn a full-time income from home. We were both initially skeptical, but quickly changed our views once we spoke to our coach and began depositing money in the bank. We're certainly glad that we made the decision to join this team. In our first month working in business, we deposited over $1,200. And in our third month, it climbed to $3,100. After only 10 months working in business consistently, we now enjoy a steadily growing income of over $5,000 per month. Now we're able to travel and set aside money for our retirement. Our positive attitude and willingness to work hard is finally paying off. We're finally able to earn what we're worth. We did it, and we know others can do it too.
Hi, my name is Val Steiner. My wife and I are originally from Idaho. About 2 years ago, the plant in Idaho was being shut down, and we were required to move to Michigan in order to prevent me from getting laid off. We have always been able to have my wife at home with our 3 boys, ages 9, 6, and 3. And we found that we needed to be able to bring in more income, and we didn't want her to work outside the home and have someone else raising our children. We found this opportunity online and made a goal to bring in $500 to $1,000 per month. In our first month, we were able to bring in $500, and in our fourth month, we were making $2,000 to $3,000 a month, and this was all done with part-time hours. We have been able to more than obtain our goal to keep my wife home with our boys, and in fact, we are now working on our next goal, which is to bring me home from my full-time job.
Hello, my name is Mark Gilbert. Before this opportunity came along, I had been coaching gymnastics for 12 years. I love coaching, but when my wife and I started talking about having a family, it was obvious that my income could never adequately provide. Since we don't believe in daycare, and Lisa hopes to stay at home when we have kids, something had to change. When we heard about this online business system, we decided to join this amazing team. At first, I had a full-time job, so I could only give 10 to 15 hours per week to the business, and in my first month, I made $1,200. From there, my income grew to the point where I was making more with this business than my full-time job. That's when I decided to quit my job, and now I'm doing this business full-time. Last month, 3 years after starting this business, my income is over $14,000 a month and growing. I love the freedom this business provides. My commute is only 5 seconds. I get to determine my work schedule and can now have a family without having to worry about money ever again.
Hi, my name is Patty McDowell, and I'm an accountant, and I have been working in public practice for 7 years. About a year ago, we were looking for a home-based business that we could make an extra $500 per month to begin with, and long-term that could facilitate a lifestyle change so that we could work at home and raise a family. I was working 50 to 60 hours per week during tax season each year, which equated to 400 hours of overtime. I was exhausted. We would be leaving the house at 7 o'clock in the morning, and I wouldn't return home until 9 or 10 o'clock at night. And I'd do this 6 days per week for 6 months out of every year. This is something that I was always going to have to do for as long as I continued in this profession. My husband and I got married last August, and knowing the lifestyle we were leading, and knowing that it wasn't going to change, we knew that raising a family was simply out of the question until we could find a better way. We found out about the business through my preparing personal tax returns for people who were already doing the business. I could see that these were successful home-based businesses, and that the people who were doing these were no different than myself. I had finally found the opportunity I was looking for. I started working 10 hours per week using the system that was already in place, and I made a profit of $700 my first month. We were so encouraged by this, and this was something that we were hoping to be able to build. We had been in the business for just over a year now. We were working 25 hours per week, and last month we made a profit of $3,500. I've left my job as a public accountant, and we now have a lifestyle which will allow us to stay at home and start a family. We love what we're doing, and we can't wait to see what happens in the future.
I'm Joseph Palladino, and I worked in the logging industry for 30 years cutting trees down. A few years ago, a limb came out of a tree and hit me in the head and shoulder, and I was unable to return to my line of work. And after my operation, I come out of the operation paralyzed. had to put the back in. They fixed that up now, but so I had to find a new line of work. So I searched on the internet looking for something I could do from home. Came across the work at home system. After going through the website, I decided this looked like something I could do and I'd be interested in doing. So my income for the first month was $400 working part-time. I was really excited about my future. Now I work full-time, and I make about $4,000 plus a month. And I get to do this all from the comfort of my own home and no boss to deal with. Thanks to this amazing opportunity, I'm able to spend more time with my family, work my own hours, take vacations when I want to, and you don't have to wait for a limb to fall on your head to realize there's another way to make a living out there. And either way, to do it all from the comfort of your own home.
Hi, I'm Michael Moore. I was in government 35 plus years. I headed up government agencies and managed billion-dollar budgets. After that time, after that career was over with, I was looking for something. So I went in for a consulting company. Consulting was good. The money was good. We had a contract, but didn't know when the next contract was coming. So that was always a little stressful. I had mortgage payments. I had bills to pay. Still had obligations. In addition, there was a lot of travel involved. Travel is not as glamorous as people think when it relates to business. I wanted to be financially independent, be in charge of my own destiny in life. Managing other people's money and budgets was not destiny, but owned by those people. I found this online business, and I've been at it full-time for 2.5 months. I have pocketed about $3,800 during that time. Business is great, in my view, as to the financial reward a person can obtain in this business. It's really, truly unlimited. I really do love this business.
My name is Beth Alderson, and I was in the insurance industry. I was a claims adjuster. I found that as the company grew, I was being taken advantage of. I was working harder and longer hours, but the pay wasn't increasing to accommodate for the changes. I went on stress leave just before my first of my 2 small children were born. When it was time for me to go back to work, I just knew that it wasn't going to be happening. I knew that I wasn't going to be able to handle the stress of working there and coming home and looking after my children and my house. So I decided that it wasn't going to be worth it to pay somebody to raise my kids and also not promote a cat. So I stayed home. One night I was searching the net looking for something that I could do so I could help out with my husband with the girls and possibly have some extra spending money just for myself, a little bit of entertainment so that the kids and I weren't stuck at home as well all day. And I found the new business. I talked to my coach every day, and I took advantage of all of the training that was provided. Every day I spent some time learning about the system and the product. And in my first month, I made $1,000. I've been in the business now for 6 months, and last month I made $2,500. Now, my life has changed quite a bit. I'm able to stay home with my children and spend more time with my family. We have dinner on the table every night, and I'm able to take days off, and I'm able to take my children to special places. I feel my income is worth the time that I'm putting into it. I have no stress in my life anymore. I have some goals that I'm meeting, and I also have some goals that I know that I'm going to meet in the near future with my new business.
My name is Corey Reynolds, and when I first heard about this work from home system on the radio, I was taking a college degree in business administration. And at the same time, I was also working part-time in the banking industry. And while I was working at the bank and going to school at the same time, I realized that I did not want to be the kind of person who after 20 years wasn't happy with what I was doing. I saw all these people in management of the bank who had been loyal and worked in the same place for 20 years, and I could just see that they weren't happy, they didn't feel like they were recognized for what they were doing, and they definitely didn't feel like they were earning the kind of dollars that they felt that they were worth. And so I really decided at that point that I didn't want to be one of those people.
The Melrose Lingerie Show with your host, SPUD. Just announced, the Beverly Hills Philanthropy Society and the Historic Football League charities have been awarded the right to operate the HFL 4 conferences and develop 4 additional stadiums in Michigan, Missouri, Virginia, and the Virgin Islands. This will bring the total franchises to 32. Look for the Delaware Corporation to expand Norwood & Sons investment from Louisiana, known for commercial real estate acquisitions, will focus on residential, and M&T Construction Specialties Inc., acquired in 1998, from Anaheim, the former toilet partition subcontractor relocated to Atlanta, Georgia as a general partner of